Well, morning glory and hallelujah, everybody. Welcome to the morning after with Nick and Big J. Welcome to another week. Welcome to another month, Big J. It is the third day of March 2025. It's the first time we've cracked the microphone together in the month of March. We're 3 days deep. How was the weekend, Big J? Let's get the nitty gritty before we get the real details.
It sucked, dude.
Oh, no!
I have nailed down the culprit to making my stomach upset, though. It happened again.
Oh, God.
On the weekend, and it's Dr. Pepper Blackberry.
Hey, didn't you often say that you shouldn't be drinking soda and that it's not great for you?
Carbonation isn't great,
right.
But I haven't had any issues here recently. And then last weekend, I pounded, for some reason, the wife bought a 12-pack.
Oh.
So because I tried it.
It's
I was
so
like,
sweet.
I know. And I tried it. I was like, oh, this is good. And then, you know what happens? You just forget. I pounded 4 of them last week. And I was kind of sure that that's what caused my issue.
Okay.
And then for whatever reason, Friday night, I was like, oh, feeling pretty good.
Party time.
Yeah, I'll have one. And then just the next day, again, with the explosions in my stomach. And so, now I know. Now I know not to do that anymore.
All
so
right.
I'm no more soda.
So on
Period.
A taste level and a satisfaction level, Dr. Pepper's Blackberry rates high for Big J. But on a agrees with your tummy level,
I don't know what
it's
it
a
is.
hard pass.
I don't know what it is about that because I've had some other sodas in between and no issue. So, but that's done and then I'm really sore, dude. I can barely lift my arms.
Is it from all the pavers?
The pavers, yeah. We'll probably find out more.
All right.
Broken wheelbarrow.
Oh no! Hey, listen, if
extra
somebody,
work.
one day I will tell you the horror story of me breaking a wheelbarrow while working for my stepfather one summer.
Is it separate from all the tools that fell off?
It's separate from the tools that fell off, and probably more catastrophic. Although he was much more angry about the tool flying off on the freeway than anything else, because that's like a losing your load ticket. I mean, it could have been very expensive, but. No, I'm wheelbarrowing concrete at a job on a residential place. And I start to lose my balance because it's a lot of concrete. And I'm, 14, 15 years old. I probably overdid it because in some remote jobs, you have to go to the concrete truck to wheelbarrow concrete to the location in which you're getting it. So that's what we were doing. We were pouring steps or something for a garage. And I realized that I've filled it up too high, and I'm like, I'm losing my load here. This is not going to end well. And so I'm struggling to get this thing. I think I had to go uphill too, if I had to remember right. And it's so bad that essentially I have gotten off kilter that one of the handles just pops right off because it's so heavy. And so I dump this concrete all over these people's yards. And Tim is like, oh my God, what have you done? You've broken my wheelbarrow and you left this mess in this customer's yard. And it took it, and he basically made me clean it all out. I mean, it was,
Nick.
it was one of those deals where, again, I cannot describe to you enough the impact that working for my stepfather had for me in his concrete construction business for 3 years to go, whatever I need to do not to do this is what I have to do.
And look how successful you are.
Yeah, we were talking about it this weekend. I thanked him again. I said, hey, thanks for making me. I know I was miserable when I did it, but I'm so happy that I worked for you because it made me realize that I'm terrible at all that stuff. And I should not do it just for other people's safety. And he thinks it's the funniest thing I ever say every single time. Because he remembers all the horror stories too.
Yeah.
But
he's probably, thank God he found something else.
yeah, he's like, God, I didn't know what I thought you were going to do when you were 15, but it certainly wasn't construction, I'll tell you that. But welcome to the show. Today we're going to check in with Mrs. Big J, talking about things that people shouldn't be doing and seeing how Big J's weekend was. Officially with a weekend grade brought to you by Axio Auto. Of course, we also have an opportunity for you to go kill switch engage over the course of the show today. That's going to be a fun little pit stop. And of course, we also have We're Going to Hell and all sorts of other fun coming up. So should be a good show. And then we play music. Alice in Chains kicking things off here on the morning after on the X Rocks.
Stuff. Launch newsfeed. On the morning after with Nick and Big J.
Batten down the hatches, Big J. A wind advisory has been issued for the Upper Treasure Valley for today. 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. tonight is when it's going to be the most gusty. That includes the Boise metro area through Mountain Home and Glens Ferry as well. They're looking for sustained winds of about 25 to 35 miles per hour with gusts of up to 50 miles per hour possible, Big J. So damage to weak fences or some loose tree limbs is possible with these strong winds, and driving could be difficult, especially if you're driving with a trailer or something larger than normal. So keep that in mind this afternoon. What can you do, Big J?
Stay home. Don't go anywhere.
Well, secure any loose or light outdoor items so stuff isn't blown around in your backyard. That's a big important thing.
That makes more sense.
Tree limbs could be blown down, so you could have some power outages throughout the night. And then winds this strong can also make sure that if you're driving down I-84, the corridor from Boise to Twin Falls, use extra caution in that particular stretch of roadways because that's where it tends to get the most gusty. So we're going to get a little bit of a wind advisory. Thought it was going to be a pretty nice week until like Wednesday or so, but this storm front kind of came in quick, so now we're expecting a little bit of showers today and a ton of wind. So keep that in mind throughout your day, Big J. Batten things down and make sure things are strapped down so that nothing goes flying through anything else. You understand?
It's a good idea.
So just so you know, we've got a wind advisory for the day. Amen. Usually takes some rather crazy weather to stop a soccer match, speaking of which, but a recent game in a German lower level league was stopped before it began because of an out-of-control kid. Before FC Taxi 2 and Rotweiss Mulheim 3 kicked things off, referee Stefan Kahler was checking in with starting players on both sides when a child of one of the players ran up to the referee and bit him in the testicle, Big J.
Ugh.
Then when the referee collapsed in pain and then called off the match so he could receive medical treatment. Watch your kids, man.
Yeah.
Don't let, how does that, where do you go from kid playing to grabbing a hold of and then biting a testicle? That's intense.
Yeah.
Does not sound like something I would want to experience, to tell you that. I'd cancel the game, too.
No.
That game would get canceled for sure. But apparently the referee is doing okay. But that was, listen, we don't usually talk about lower-level German soccer, but that felt like a sports story important enough that we bring it up here during important stuff. Agree or disagree?
Yeah.
Not a lot of people went to the movies this weekend. Don't know for whatever reason, maybe because there wasn't anything really appealing new coming out, but that meant Captain America was the number one movie of the weekend once again. Only made $15 million this weekend, but the domestic gross for that movie is up to $163.7 million. The biggest debut is Last Breath. Big J, do you know what Last Breath is?
It's about a gentleman's last breath.
No. It is a thriller, I believe, about deep sea diving starring Woody Harrelson.
Oh, yeah. I saw it. I was like, I don't want to see that.
That made $7.8 million at the box office. The Monkey, number 3. Paddington in Peru, number 4. And Dogman, at number 5 at the box office. But pretty weak, all things considered.
Well, yeah, some great titles there.
Now, to be fair, usually, I don't know what it is, but it's usually something about Oscar weekend usually makes for a weak return at the box office. This is another one. Maybe it's because, like, the movie, I guess, aficionados decide not to go to the theater this weekend. I don't know. But there was not a lot of people heading to the movies this weekend, that's for sure. Morning After with Nick and Big J. There's your first round of important stuff. It is the X Rocks. And that is Black here on the Morning After with Nick and Big J. You know, one thing we love to do, Big J, is keep an eye on politics across all these 50 states.
Oh, God, it's our favorite.
And find out what has changed and what hasn't. But something that, without getting too deep into the weeds, that may be interesting is it has now been official with a bill that was introduced into legislation in Kansas over the weekend. Right to repair legislation has now been introduced in every single state. Already been passed in states like New York, California, Minnesota, Colorado, Oregon, and Wisconsin. There's a bill in the Idaho legislation as well. Big J, if you had to guess, what is right to repair?
I've got the right to repair my stuff.
Yeah, that's right. But what does that mean?
I don't know. Hopefully it means, like, if you want to, like, download a manual, you don't have to download 700 things that are going to ruin your computer. You ever tried to download a manual?
I have not, but I understand what you're saying. But that is kind of part of it. As a matter of fact, it kind of ties into a Netflix documentary that I watched last week, which is why this is probably interesting to me and why it probably popped up in my things that you might find interesting. But you know, one thing that has truly and honestly disappeared from when we were kids, Big J, was every product that you bought you were able to somehow fix and repair. There was replacement parts that you could buy if something went sideways. If your TV was on the fritz, you could buy a tube or take it to a TV repair place to get it fixed. Now, in the world that we live in, none of that stuff exists. If your TV is gone, you're like, holy bleep, I got to buy a new TV. If your phone goes on the fritz, you can maybe try it, but odds are you're probably going to have to buy a new phone. It's just more difficult to find replacement parts. More importantly, it's more difficult to find people that truly know how to fix these particular things than when it was back before there were manuals readily available and replacement parts readily available. It's just one of those things that companies have phased out over time because they realize it's much more economically profitable for them to
replace it,
make you buy a new product from scratch as opposed to try to dig in there and be able to replace parts that are part of it. And Americans have been starting to get fed up with all the ways in which manufacturers, from everything from toasters and tractors, frustrate or block repairs. And lawmakers are starting to hear that frustration and take action. So we are going to start to see more customers get access to replacement parts for devices and to machines as we move forward, at least if these laws are passed in certain states. Right now, they're only good to go in 6, but all 50 states have some sort of legislation in their, I guess, state legislation that would make it possible for right to repair to be a thing.
So let me get this straight. There's a state where their legislatures trying to solve an actual problem that exists.
Well, technically all 50 states.
It's crazy.
Yes.
This is where it starts, man, where we take back America.
This is the what is both equally interesting and maddening to politics in general, and that is, yes, through the minutia, if you dig through enough of the BS, you will find some things that can actually help you. The problem is, once again, only 6 states of the 50 have passed it so far. This legislation has been caught up in a lot of things upwards of 3 years. It just, there's so many other stupid things that also get introduced and weigh down the important stuff that things like this never get through.
If it's not legislating morality, it has no chance here in the state of Idaho.
That is correct.
Sorry.
So, I don't know when we'll hear
about
right
this. To repair.
Yeah. Well, you think maybe you might have a chance because right isn't there somewhere, but nope, not anywhere soon. Morning After with Nick and Big J. There is your legislative update. We got ourselves check-in with Mrs. Big J about Big J's weekend. That's happening next on the X Rocks.
Here's traffic inside the TDS Fiber Traffic Center on 100.3 The X.
This traffic report.
That is Green Day, that is Brain Stew and Jaded here on the Morning After with Nick and Big J. We opened up the show talking to Big J about his weekend, and he made some excuses about why his tummy hurt, so he was maybe setting things up for how this was about to go, but it's time to check in with Mrs. Big J and get Big J's weekend grade, brought to you by Axio Auto.
AxioAuto.com.
And find out exactly how things are going with Big J and the weekend, so we check in with Kylie. Hi, Kylie. How you doing?
Hi, doing good.
Very good to hear your voice. Thank you for joining us so early, as you often do here on Mondays. And Big J, the last thing he said to me on Friday before we parted ways was he was not looking forward to this weekend because he knew he had a bunch of pavers that he had to move.
Manual
from
labor.
The backyard to wherever he was going to put it, but he was really already not looking forward to the weekend. So I'll start with that. Did Big J do some paver moving?
He did, but it was really funny because back in the summer, we were talking about moving pavers for the dogs to put more grass back there, and nothing had happened. So a few weeks ago, I posted an ad like on Facebook Marketplace saying, hey, I'll pay somebody to move pavers. And he said, I'm going to do this. And I'm like, okay. And I let it be. And then I asked him, I said, so are you moving pavers today? And it was Saturday. And he goes, no, I'm going to do that tomorrow. And I'm like, okay. And I knew he wasn't feeling that great. He had some tummy things. And then Sunday, and he actually did go out Saturday and move a couple. We have about 60 of them, and they're big. I think they're like 50 pounds a pop, maybe more. And I saw him. He loaded up a wheelbarrow, way too many. I said, that's too many to put in a wheelbarrow. They're really heavy, and it was sinking kind of in the dirt a little. So then he went back out Sunday, and he moved like 15 of them, I think. I mean, I was highly impressed. I didn't think they were getting done. I thought like he would be one done or injured and he had to go to the emergency room. So, I mean,
Go to hell,
I was so impressed though. And then I actually traded off a little bit of my shift. So I got off like 2 hours early and I worked 2 hours earlier before. And he's complaining that I'm ruining his sleep pattern on Saturdays. He wants to be left alone. He doesn't want me in our room. He wants to go to sleep on his own with a TV blaring. So that kind of knocked him down. But I was so impressed with him this weekend.
Very nice. I mean, it doesn't bode well that you are actually kind of waiting for him to say, I need to go to the ER.
Can you call in sick with chores at home? Apparently not, Nick. It doesn't matter if you're about to crap yourself.
No, I get it. When I'm
better
sick
move the pavers.
Is the only time I get stuff done around the house. But, I mean, are there still pavers that have yet to be moved? Is this going to several week kind of a thing? Okay.
I got a third of them done. Because there's, I don't know, there's like 60 or 70.
Where are you going with them? Did you start a pile, or what are you doing with
them? In the front gate part, we have like a side, next to our driveway.
So you're just moving one pile from one part of to another.
And what I thought was, she said the wheelbarrow was too heavy, and that might have been the case, but it also didn't realize that because we've got a bunch of mud back there, that the wheelbarrow wheel is broken. And so I had to scrap the idea of, doing some just, picking them up and then putting them in a wheelbarrow and then moving them that way. I had to then start, picking them up, each individual one, and moving them that way, and that's a lot more laborious.
What's the amount of space from point A to point B? Like, are you going 20 feet, 30 feet, 10 feet?
It's probably 25 yards.
20.
Okay, all right.
No, it's not 25 yards. It's like 20 feet.
No, it's further than 20 feet.
I mean, 25 yards is almost 100 feet. That's a long way.
It's quite a ways.
Okay, all right. Well, then it sounds like you guys
measure it out for her later.
Agree to disagree on the distance. Anything else he did this weekend of note, Kylie?
No, I did make him. He was playing video games on Sunday, and I said, could you please go to Dutch and McDonald's for us? And he looked at me like just horrified that I would ask. And I'm like, well, you're here playing video games. We're all going to work. And he just, grumbled a little and went out to do it. But he did it, and I know secretly he enjoys doing it. He just wants to grumble first.
Listen, she said, I'm making tea so I don't have to go buy it. And I'm like, didn't you make tea? Yeah.
That was days ago.
Yeah. Yeah. But she also forgets I do all the laundry and the dishes and everything the weekend. But she forgets those things. All right.
All right, Kylie. We need a grade for Big J's weekend. How did he do in your eyes?
He's getting an A. We didn't have to go to the emergency room.
All right. Hey, listen, anytime we keep Big J on 2 feet and above ground, I feel like it's a good weekend as well. So, an A, Big J. All you had to do was move a third of the pavers, and you got yourself an A.
Yeah, I do plan throughout the week to try to, whittle this down, inch by inch.
Kylie, how much of this is a sympathy grade because he wasn't feeling well?
Well, he probably would have got a B. True. I mean, no, I don't know that he moved the pavers, and I didn't think he would do it.
All right.
We have other battles, in the yard that we talk about. So we'll see. But I mean, this paver thing, I was shocked. So he gets an A.
All right. Congratulations, Big J.
Sad.
Look at you.
It's sad that shocks my wife that I can go pick up some pavers and move.
And not get injured.
I agree. It is sad that is shocking. But, hey, it's the world we live in, and these are her rules, and this is the way it works. Kylie, thank you very much for joining us. As always, we appreciate you very much.
Have a great spa day.
Enjoy your vacation, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, there's Kylie.
She's laughing because she's literally going to a hot springs today.
Well, good for her.
I need the hot springs. My muscles are sore.
So go join her. What's holding you up?
I'm working.
All right. Morning After with Nick and Big J. There's Big J's weekend grade. Important stuff next on the X.
Important stuff.
Launch newsfeed.
On the Morning After with Nick and Big J.
Big J, in our spare time, you and I host a movies podcast that's been going on for well over 9 years. It is well received and has plenty of downloads, so I think we're probably more qualified than most to answer the following question. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Do Americans have film fatigue? Are they tired of movies, full stop?
No.
Because there were over 500 movies released in the year 2024. But according to a new survey from Talker Research, the average American has only watched 3 new movies in the last calendar year. That's not a lot. Now, what ends up happening is it's not that people don't want to watch movies. It's just that they go back to movies they have seen. They are less likely to check out a new release or a movie that has just come out as opposed to one they already know that they like and enjoy. That's a comically low number, Big J. Now, this comes to light because they were talking about the Oscars this year, and they found out that 48% of Americans haven't seen a single movie that was nominated for the Best Picture in Oscar categories. Now, I did my research. I believe that if I had to guess, you have watched 2 of the 10 nominees. You have not seen Anora, correct?
Didn't even know what it's about. I forgot that it existed.
You did see Amelia Perez, though, as part of Streaming Dumbass.
Yep.
You have not seen A Complete Unknown, correct?
No.
Do you have interest in it?
Not really.
Okay. Conclave, have not seen, right?
No.
Nickel Boys, have not seen, right?
Nope.
I'm Still Here, have not seen, right?
Nope.
The Substance, have not seen, right?
Nope.
Wicked, you still haven't seen that, correct?
No, but I should. I'm interested in seeing that one at least.
The Brutalist, have not seen, correct?
No.
I know you've seen Doom Part 2, so those are the 2 that I was correct. I have seen 1, 2, 3, 4 of the top 5. 5 of the 10 nominees. Have not seen 5. But they're bringing that to the point of, like, maybe people don't want to do it. Now, Wicked was the most common movie that Americans have seen that was nominated for Best Picture. Coming in second was Dune Part 2, but 23% of Americans say they've never watched the Oscars. They don't even know what movies are nominated for it, so that's not really a surprise. I'm not that surprised. Frankly, I'm surprised that number is so low, really. I thought more people would care less about the Oscars, but there's apparently people that do and want to keep up on those. So what do you think it is? Why aren't Americans going to see new movies in particular?
I think, I don't know, man. I think, it's they're stuck between convenience and going out and spending money to do something. I think what you've got at home now, thanks to streaming, whether it be Netflix or most people have a combination of like Netflix and Max. I mean, you're talking about, you have a catalog of thousands of movies, a bunch of them that you're familiar with. And it's oversaturation of choices, and that oftentimes breaks down, and you don't want to, adventure or invest time in something you're not familiar with. I think that's part of the problem, that it's just too much choices.
Yeah, and I also think you're right. I think streaming has changed the game specifically since the pandemic, and that is people do not go out to see movies anymore. It's just not something that happens. It will happen if it's an event and they're looking forward to it, absolutely, like a Wicked or a Marvel movie or whatever. Even depends on the Marvel movie, really, but it is one of those situations where it has to be something that motivates somebody, and a lot of these movies that get released in theaters are tentpole movies. Or listen, if you haven't watched a lot of Marvel, you may not be into what's happening now. I mean, at this point, these Marvel movies are homework more than anything else. And so that becomes part of it as well. If you're not into comic books or superhero movies, you have a limited amount of access to what you see in theaters. And I think that has impacted things greatly. And then the fact that, I can just wait 3 weeks really for whatever movie that's playing in cinemas that I really want to see in my in the comfort of my own home, and then it comes up and you're like, well, I'm not paying $40 for this. I'll just wait until it's streaming. So I think that's a big reason why a lot of people haven't seen the Oscar nominees, but it doesn't explain to me why people have only watched 3 new movies a year. I do believe it's a lot like we see, nobody wants to talk about this, but it's a lot like we see with music research when we're talking about radio. And that is, like, we can do...
It's absolutely the same. It's 100%
we can send out 10,000 songs and say... we can have 10,000 people that say, all I do is listen to the X. And we can send you 10,000 songs, and you can listen to every single one. And I promise you, the ones that will come back the most liked are the songs that you've heard 1.5 billion times. New music never registers. It doesn't do well, and there's a reason why that's not a big part of more things that you see. It's because everything that you see tells you that the second people hear something that they're not familiar with or they're not comfortable with, the odds are they're turning the channel with the average listener, and that's something that you don't want to do. And it's the same thing with Americans when it comes to movies. You'd rather watch Anchorman for the 17th time than watch that new Will Ferrell movie that's on Amazon, because you know you like Anchorman and you will get a ton of laughs out of it, and you're not sure what you think about You're Cordially Invited.
Me, I won't even pull the trigger on the Anchorman at this point because I'm like, and then I just can't. I don't know, man. I mean, it's one of those things where it's overwhelming.
Now, let me ask you this. Do you feel that same way about TV shows? Or are you much more likely to watch a television show than you are a movie?
Yes, because it's a shorter amount of time.
You
time
think
investment.
You think that.
Right, but then you're I'll watch the next episode, and the next thing you know, I'm through 8 different episodes.
And you're like, I could have watched 4 movies in this amount of time.
Right, I face that dilemma every time I'm looking for something
It really is. That's one thing that I would love to find out. Because that's exactly it. You go, man, I don't want to watch a 2-hour movie, but you will sit down and you will watch 5 hours of a television show and not think twice about it.
Yeah.
And it's a weird dynamic that we have. But I do the exact same thing. It's like, man, 2 hours and 10 minutes is a commitment I'm not willing to make. But I will sit down and I will watch 2 episodes of my favorite show, which is 3 hours long, and not think twice about it.
That you've already seen before.
Yes, 100%.
It's like the next thing you know, you've watched 2-3 seasons of Community again.
I'm just as guilty as anybody else. I don't know why I do it, but it's fascinating that we continue to do it. But the rationalizations that we make don't make any sense when you look back at what we end up doing with the time. The popularity of Caitlin Clark continues in her upcoming second season in the WNBA. The Washington Mystics have announced that their 2 home games against the Indiana Fever have already been moved from the 4,000-seat Care First Arena, where they usually play, to the 14,000-seat CFG Bank Arena in Baltimore to accommodate the amount of ticket requests they're getting for it. So people love Caitlin Clark. They want to see her play. This is great for the game of basketball, Big J. I continue to be in awe of the fact that one person has been able to do this in the sport. It's the equivalent of Michael Jordan. I remember the Milwaukee Bucks were terrible in the 80s when I was growing up. They were fine. They were a playoff team, but they never did anything. But the 2 games that would sell out, or the 4 games that would sell out every year with the Chicago Bulls games, way in advance, the only games you could not get tickets to. It's one of those things with Caitlin Clark that they have to move the venue at this point. So congratulations to Caitlin and the fact that she is being able to put a bunch more eyeballs on the WNBA. It's not a small feat, and it should be congratulated because it is not easy to do. Big J, do you want to talk about the good or the bad of film?
Let's go with the good.
All right, the Oscars were last night. Did you watch a second of it, Big J?
Yes, I did.
What did you think?
I forgot that it was. Well, I didn't forget that it was on. I just forgot. I didn't. I thought that I didn't have access to ABC, and then it was like, oh, it's on Hulu. So I was watching it on Hulu. By the time I got to it, the part I saw was probably the best part, and that was Adam Sandler.
What did he do? I didn't see.
He was. They did a bit where he was not dressed up at all. He was just wearing his typical Adam Sandler stuff, and then they kicked him out.
I love it. I love it.
It was hilarious.
By all accounts, Conan did a really, really good job hosting the Oscars, which is not an easy gig to do. And then the other thing that happened was a bunch of upsets. Nora ended up knocking things out of the park, which is a movie that got a lot of buzz and then kind of secured itself some pretty good, really good votes towards the last end of the run-up. And Mikey Madison ended up winning Best Actress for her role in Nora. Nora ended up winning Best Actor, Best Original Screenplay, Best Film Editing, and of course, Best Picture as well. So it kind of ran the table a little bit. Sean Baker makes some history because he is now, first of all, he basically made this movie from scratch. He did all of that stuff. So he's the first person ever to win 4 Oscars for editing, screenplay, director, and picture, basically all done by himself because he produced the movie as well. So it was a solo job all the way around. So congratulations to Sean. Adrian Brody won his second Oscar for Best Actor for The Brutalist. Kieran Culkin and Zoe Saldana ended up winning the Supporting Actor and Actress Awards, kind of like they've done at the Golden Globes as well. So congratulations to them. And then Flow made history as Latvia's first animated feature winner. No Other Land but won Best Documentary, and I'm Still Here earned Brazil its first Oscar for Best International Feature. So it was a pretty interesting Oscars, all things considered. I've heard good things about Nora. I do want to see it. That's one that I have not seen yet, but I'm really, really excited to see it because it looks like one of those movies that actually, from what I've heard, it's a lot of fun to watch. And it's rare that fun movies win Oscars, but this is one of the cases where maybe it was supposed to be a fairly down year for film, and it could have been anybody's race. and it ended up being Anora's night at the Oscars.
Crazy.
So congratulations. Sean Baker, by the way, has some Idaho connections, Big J. He was once nominated and won like the Aspiring Filmmaker Award at the Sun Valley Film Festival. So
Yeah, I saw that.
Pretty cool to see a gentleman that they kind of helped pave the way back in 2013. Over 10 years later, make his run at the Oscars. So congratulations to Sean Baker.
And a hell of a run.
Yeah, and everybody involved in Anora. I definitely want to check out that movie. Morning After with Nick and Big J. There's your important stuff. We're going to go to hell. It's going to happen next on the X Rocks.
Here's traffic inside the TDS Fiber Traffic Center on 100.3.
The Morning After with Nick and Big J on 100.3 The X Rocks.
I think, Big J, 25, 30 years from now, historians will look back and mark February 9th, 2025 as the beginning of the Uprising, Big J.
Which one? Which
Judgment
uprising?
Day, if you will.
Oh.
Because we are going to be talking about something that we talk about a lot on this show, and that is the robot uprising.
Oh, robots, yeah. Robots.
What was it again?
Robots.
Is that your robot voice?
I don't know.
I like it. And you may probably be familiar with the fact that some countries and places are a little bit more open to using robot and humanoid robots for things than we are here in the United States of America. I still don't think we've wrapped our heads around it. We'll probably be one of the last to do it if we ever do it at all. But China has certainly embraced the use of humanoid robots for a lot of things, and they had put together a bunch of them, specifically the Unitree H1 humanoid robot, as part of their security team for the Tianjin Winter Gala Festival that began on February 9th. There were hundreds of thousands of, well, I'm not going to say hundreds of thousands, but hundreds, if not thousands, of people lined up on the streets for the big winter parade in that Chinese province on February 9th. And they had some Unitree H1 humanoid robots kind of lined up along the parade route to make sure everybody stayed in line. You understand?
Like little Johnny Fives out there.
Right, just hanging out, just kind of keeping everybody back away from the route. And if you haven't seen what these robots look like, they're kind of like the Boston Dynamic robots. You know, they have like, they're very humanoid in nature. They stand about 6 feet tall. They weigh about 140 pounds. And they're just kind of there to, I don't know, just be there probably. But something went awry, Big J, during the actual parade. As during the parade, one of the spectators extends their hand, kind of like to shake the hand of the robot, if you will.
What a dumb move. Why would you approach a robot and try to engage in it?
There was like a line of people, so it was like a mass of people, and one of them kind of sticks their hands out to say hi to the robot. And the robot clearly took this as some sort of aggression move.
Yeah.
Because it starts going nuts and aggressively like rushes towards the crowd and starts waving its hands, violently hitting some people and all sorts of stuff. And then it had to be pulled back by actual human security guards and what looks to be a robot supervisor. I don't know what the hell that thing was doing there. But then the robot appears to calm down before the video cuts off. But there is a violent outburst from a robot that has started to make its rounds on social media, and it's starting to raise the concerns about the use of these autonomous machines around humans. Now, it is marketed as a general-purpose robot. It's become one of the more popular commercial available humanoid robots on the market. And it runs about $90,000 for one of these right now. The developer has addressed the viral video, saying, it was most likely, quote, an accident that was caused by, quote, software setting or a malfunctioning sensor, adding that it has already taken precautions to prevent such accidents from occurring in the future. But this thing looks like it connects with about 3 or 4 people, and it looks like, I mean, listen, think about it. You get hit by metal coming down, it probably hurt like a mother effer.
Talk about the lawsuit ready to happen right there.
Not shocking that their statement didn't exactly put everybody's minds at ease. While some deemed the video misleading, claiming that the H1 robot was merely trying to recover its balance after looking like it accidentally stumbled, others exposed the concerns about the danger of people being injured in such instances, because this thing does go bonkers for a couple of seconds. Whether it's trying to gain its balance or not, anything that it's around is going to sustain some damage the way this thing was flailing about.
Yeah. We must see the public execution of this robot, right? That's what's next.
I will be honest, it did look like a sci-fi horror movie to me. I was like, whoa, this
iRobot,
robot's going nuts. Yeah.
I mean, the Boston Dynamic robot, they kind of look like the iRobots anyways.
Did you ever see that robot, or that video of that robot that was trying to like move a box and then it got stuck on something and it started going nuts and like smacking the box into a million? It was like this, but the person was in the way instead of a box.
I feel so bad. I know I shouldn't, that they're inanimate objects, but I just can't help it. Short Circuit lives in my mind.
Well, listen, there was no lightning bolt here. He was just flailing around. But certainly do not want to be in the vicinity of one of those as they are flailing around. So February 9th, mark it on your calendars. Could be the beginning of the end. Morning After with Nick and Big J. There's your We're Going to Hell story. It is the X Rocks. Lit my own worst enemy here on the Morning After with Nick and Big J. What, you thought we were done talking about legislation? Oh, no, Big J.
Oh, whoa, man. That's too much.
One more piece of legislation that maybe you might be interested in, Big J. I want to take you back to last year. Now, last year, the Ohio Supreme Court made a controversial ruling, Big J. And it involves one of your favorite things, chicken wing. Now, there's no reason they should even be talking about chicken wings. Well, there is, and you're going to find out, okay? Basically, what ended up happening was there was a customer named Michael Birkenheimer that went to a local chicken wing place there in Ohio and ordered boneless chicken wings, right? And so he's gnawing down on these chicken wings, and it turned out one of them had a bone in it, and he started choking really, really bad. And he needed the Heimlich maneuver, and finally the bone did come out. And so he decided to sue the restaurant and said, hey, I ordered boneless wings. What am I doing choking on a bone over here? What the hell? And the Ohio Supreme Court ruled that even though chicken wings are sometimes advertised as boneless, customers should still expect them to have bones, and ruled in favor of the restaurant, Big J, and said that you get nothing for choking on your boneless chicken wing that had a bone in it. And that made a lot of people very upset, Big J. Do you think that you, Judge Big J, do you agree or disagree with that ruling? Should you assume that there may be bones in your boneless chicken wing?
I mean, there's no such thing as a boneless chicken wing. It doesn't make any sense. It's stupid to even say. It's stupid to even have a conversation. They should just be chicken nuggets.
Or tenders.
Tenders,
Yeah, I think that's more of a restaurant problem than a consumer problem. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's not the customers naming these things. It's the restaurant that are calling them boneless chicken wings.
Oh, but you should feel safe, I guess. I don't know. I mean, this is a stupid one.
Well, would you feel better if they were shaped more like chicken wings? Would that make more sense to you? If they were like in the shape of a wing?
But they're not.
No, they're not. They're just strips usually.
I don't know.
An Ohio lawmaker named Bill DeMora wants to legally define the boneless chicken wing, Big J. He is focusing more on liability and reasonable expectations. He says he doesn't know a normal person in the United States who doesn't think boneless means without bones. And he wants to make sure there's some sort of legal definition. Now,
it's accurate.
If the bill is passed, it won't undo the court's ruling, but it will set a precedent for future cases, making sure all boneless chicken wings, at least in the state of Ohio, Big J, have no bones in them. I'm still trying to wrap my head around what that could possibly be if you order a boneless chicken wing and there could be a bone in there somewhere. I'm trying to figure out where that bone would be, because you're right, they're usually in strip or nugget form.
But clearly it's something that fell through the safety protocols of whoever made that.
Right. Or unless, we're talking about another thing where a regular chicken wing made its way into a boneless chicken wing basket, and then he just assumed, oh no, I ate the whole thing and I'm now choking. I don't know how it happened, but there appears to be some sort of legislation that they feel is justified between legally defining a boneless chicken wing. I would argue common sense would be the definition, but here we are with the Supreme Court ruling against common sense, in my personal opinion. So now you have this to kind of set a precedent. I guess it kind of makes sense, but it is weird that we have to have legislation to define what a boneless chicken wing is in the United States. But America, right?
I just feel like that's too much micromanaging Americans.
I agree. But then again, you have a ruling like this, and you're like, how the hell do you rule in favor of saying that there should be bones and boneless, or that you should expect bones and boneless chicken wings? That doesn't make any sense to me either. Again, you would think, once again, if there was a common sense czar, all of this would be overruled.
We've realized that there's no way that can be possible.
We have left that far, far, far behind.
I just know this. At the end of this conversation, I'm now hungry.
You want some chicken wings?
Yeah.
Bro? You still like lean towards bone in, or are you a boneless guy these days?
I'm in bone in, but it depends. Like if I'm getting something now, like it's super spicy, I would prefer to just fork that up. So
I see. So you don't have your hands all over it.
Yeah, but also cost sometimes. The bone-in wings are usually more expensive.
But you also traditionally, no matter what you're eating, rub your eyes almost after every meal, right?
After every bite. Usually.
So you got to keep that hot stuff off your.
I can't see.
Morning After with Nick and Big J. There's your very important chicken wing update. Coming up in a few minutes, we got some important stuff as well as your pop culture smackdown. It is the X Rocks.
Down. On the Morning After with Nick and Big J.
Yep, and we got a pretty cool set of tickets here to hook you up with a Kill Switch Engage coming on March 17th at the Revolution Concert House and Event Center. Will be a fantastic show. We'll get you these tickets for free. All you need to do is beat Nick at Pop Culture Smackdown today. Obviously, we'll throw in some Oscar trivia as the Oscars were last night.
All right. Do you think you got what it takes? 208-287-1003 to take home some Kill Switch Engage tickets. That's happening on St. Patrick's Day. We want to get you in there, so best of luck to everybody involved. Big J, are you ready?
Yeah.
We shall see. Hello, the X.
How's it going?
Good, man. What's your name?
Brian.
All right, Brian, you're up first, man. Good luck.
Who hosted the most Academy Awards ceremonies? Was it Bob Hope, Billy Crystal, or Nick and Big J?
Bob Hope.
That is correct. Bob Hope is the right answer. Nick, who was the first woman to have won the Oscar for Best Director?
I believe it was Catherine Bigelow.
That's correct. For a movie we almost had the star on.
The Hurt Locker.
But he chose not to come on the show that day. For good reason. All right, Clint Eastwood's first Oscar nomination for acting didn't come until 1993 for his Western starring him and Gene Hackman. Was it Pale Rider, Unforgiven, or Silverado?
Unforgiven.
That's correct. Boy, good job. Nick, who holds the record for the most Oscars won?
I believe it's Walt Disney.
That's correct. Walt Disney at 26. Who was the first African-American actress to win an Academy Award? Was it Halle Berry, Viola Davis, or Cynthia Erivo?
Did you repeat that? You cut out.
Who was the first African-American woman to win the Academy Awards for Best Actress? Was it Halle Berry, Viola Davis, or Cynthia Erivo?
Ooh, Halle Berry.
That is correct. Nick, what was the name of the coffee shop in the TV show Friends?
Central Perk.
Central Perk. And you did it.
Ran the table?
You ran the table.
Look at that. Congratulations, Brian. Feels good to
I need more Friends questions.
run it all the way around. Good job, man. Congratulations. You survived 8 seconds without getting bucked off. You got tickets to Kill Switch Engage. Hang on 1 second, dude. We'll make sure you have everything that you need for that. There's your Pop Culture Smackdown. It's the Morning After with Nick and Big J. We got your headlines next on the X.
Here's traffic inside.
News you can barely use. It's headlines on the Morning After with Nick and Big J.
Headlines brought to you by Be Our Guest. Another one coming your way on Friday. If you're looking for the perfect place to celebrate a special occasion, Il Sugo Italian Kitchen in Meridian, the place to be. It's locally owned and known for their authentic Italian comfort food, especially that's prepared perfectly and paired perfectly with some wine. They are the taste of Italy, and they bring it to your table. House-made sauces, fresh, locally sourced pasta, and check out their expanded menu. It's awesome. And Be Our Guest, you'll have an opportunity to score $50 in gift certificates to Il Sugo for only $25. It's the perfect introduction to what Meridian's gourmet Italian restaurant has to offer. So, Friday, 9 o'clock, check out xrock.com. These are limited. They will sell out. You want to grab them while you can. Il Sugo, Be Our Guest, this Friday, 9 o'clock at xrock.com. Headlines are as follows. Take that. It's all fake, or we've all been there.
It's all fake.
Patriarchy Hannah That is the screen name for somebody who created popular accounts chronicling her experience as a trad wife and a mother of 14 different kids.
What kind of wife?
Traditional wife, stay-at-home mom, that kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
It's a thing. She turned out to be a fraud, Big J.
No.
Hannah supposedly had a husband named Tony who worked in construction and often talked about the importance of, being somebody that submits to her husband and does what the husband wants. However, some online detectives speculate that his entire identity is a charade and that Hannah does not have any children at all. In response, Hannah then posted an apology on X. The bottom line is, I'm not who I presented myself to be. I never pretended for this account to be and become as big as it did. That is a now deleted post. Patriarchy Hannah had over 25,000 followers at that particular point. Well, that's only on X. On TikTok and other, she had way more. And so, believe it or not, Big J, being somebody that is, submitting to their husband and having 14 kids and doing whatever they want to do isn't exactly a popular stance in 2025.
Unless you're a kicker for a football team.
That is correct. Well, even still, it's a different world. And so not a ton, but still turned out to be totally fake anyway. Once again, don't believe everything you believe online from every influencer that's out there. A lot of times we're seeing particularly things that they want to portray to you and not the actual scenario. But hey, listen, if you're doing it for entertainment, it's all fine, I suppose, right?
Very fine.
Take that, or we've all been there.
We've all been there.
Citigroup accidentally credited $81 trillion into a customer's account instead of $280.
Damn!
The error took place in April of 2024 and was missed by two separate employees. However, a third worker found the error an hour and a half after the transaction was processed. The payment was then reversed, but Citigroup representatives did apologize. Thankfully, the near miss did not impact the customer or the bank. Citigroup experienced 10 near misses of $1 billion or more in 2024. That's a lot. Wow. Right? I mean, billions are a lot of money.
Right.
Going back and forth. I know they're not even worth $81 trillion, so clearly some clerical error was made there, but still, that seems aggressive and egregious. Too much money to be thrown around.
Yeah, I mean, a few million would go missing easily in that.
I don't know what I would do if you log on to your Citigroup account and you see that you have $81 trillion in there.
Take a screenshot?
I guess. And then call them and go,
that's all the closest you're going to get to it, man.
Please don't arrest me for fraud. Something is wrong here. Wrap it up with Take That. A Gainesville, Florida man allegedly drove his car into a BMW dealership after being denied a test drive, Big J. The suspect
wouldn't even let him take a test drive.
Is named Kevin Lyman. He was arrested Tuesday for attempting to steal a vehicle. Police say he originally intended to buy an M4 but failed a credit check. As a result, he was not allowed to test drive the $110,000 car. You can understand why they would want you to go through that before you do it. Witnesses say he then attempted to grab the keys to the car, and when he was unsuccessful at that, he jumped in his own vehicle and drove it right through the showroom window.
I mean, that's going to ensure he'll never get his hands on a test drive again.
Lieben was arrested shortly after that. He faces grand theft and criminal mischief charges. Not a very mature reaction to not being allowed to test drive one of those vehicles. Seems silly. But hey, listen, man, it's Florida. All bets are off. You understand?
Yep.
Morning After with Nick and Big J. There's your headlines. You're officially up to date on everything. It is the X-Rocks. Red Hot Chili Peppers give it away here on the Morning After with Nick and Big J. Big J, the Italian in me wants to learn all the pasta knowledge you have. Please.
Yeah. How much pasta do you think you eat a year? I mean, how often do you eat pasta?
It's not as often as you would think. I mean, what do you want me to break it down? Like, how many days do I have it? Or
yeah, sure.
I'd probably have to say, I don't know, maybe once, twice a month, maybe.
Yeah, that seems light.
Yeah, I agree. I'm a bad Italian, but it is something that I don't eat probably as much as other people do.
Instacart delving into their database and looking to figure things out on occasion. They said that each American eats on average about 20 pounds of pasta per year.
Okay, that sounds about right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've added it up, but we're probably ahead of that on our side of the family there. But the interesting thing is they wanted to know what type of sauce Americans prefer on their pasta. Nick, what do you think is the number one?
Well, it has to be marinara.
Yeah, marinara.
Yeah. I mean, that's the sauce that you're going to get in most restaurants and most meals, and the default sauce that is most often given to you.
Here's an interesting thing, because down on the list at number 5 is tomato sauce. And I'm like, what differentiates marinara from tomato sauce?
Meat is in marinara is a meat sauce, so there's usually some sort of meat
Interesting.
stylings.
See, I
in the
thought marinara just referred to it being accompanied with different herbs and tomato sauce.
It can. I mean, tomato sauce and marinara are different, mostly from a consistency standpoint. Tomato sauce is usually more liquidy than the marinara sauce, in my opinion.
Number 2 on the list here is Alfredo.
Of course.
That's pretty American right there. And then you get into the weeds here with tomato stuff. Tomato basil is number 3. Tomato garlic is number 4. And I'm like, usually marinara has all of those things in them. I thought a good Sunday gravy, if you will. Then pesto comes in here at number 6. Poor pesto.
Is vodka sauce in there at all?
Vodka sauce is at number 9. Just
I like
under
a good vodka sauce.
Meat sauce, which is number 8.
Meat.
And then mushroom sauce. I'm like,
No, thank you. I can't have mushroom sauce. I would die. But nothing cheese centered in there.
Yeah, tomato and cheese sauce is
right.
number 7.
Okay.
But I'm like, that gets there's to me a lot of those are all the same.
Yeah, it depends on the different and how much heavy it is and where you go. But yeah, I mean, the top 2 is clearly the most popular. I'm sure far, far, far and away. You either get a marinara or you get an Alfredo. Do you have a preference? Do you like one over the other?
Let's see. We do marinara more often, but Alfredo is, man, I can't. I start to think about wonderful people at Olive Garden.
It's so filling, though, dude.
Want to drink it up.
I can't do it very much. Although that being said, I don't know if anybody has done this. I'm sure you have, but if you go to Olive Garden and you get the breadsticks, order the the Alfredo dipping.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of people that never even know that you could do that.
Yeah.
It will change your life.
It'll ruin your life.
If you dip the breadsticks in the Alfredo sauce, it really is a game changer.
Yeah, you go straight from normal to diabetes.
Right.
Like, real quick.
I mean, you leave there feeling worse than you've ever felt about yourself.
What are the worst things your body for you? Pasta and bread. And that's what you get just constantly at the OG.
There's so much starch and so many carbs, but it is delicious. I will say that. I mean, really, it's a game changer.
As an Italian, though, you don't like make your own like gravy, right? You don't get into that.
I have recipes for it, but no, I mean it's really just a time and.
I mean, you got grandma's recipes.
I've got grandma's recipes. I as a matter of fact, I think I told you I had my aunt send me her lasagna recipe because I do want to try to make it from scratch because it is my favorite meal I've ever had is my grandmother's lasagna, which she made everything from scratch. And so my aunt sent me all the rest, like the handwritten notes from my grandma. She sent to me,
cool.
And I'm like, one day I'm going to do it. But I looked at all these, I looked at the time and I looked at all the ingredients. I'm like, this is a day that I'm going to have to do.
It's a Sunday thing, man.
Yeah. And she's got the recipe for the noodles because she used to make those as well. That's not something I'm going to do. I just don't have the space nor the patience to do that. But I'm going to try to knock it out. But yeah, I've got some recipes, but no. I just don't have the.
We need a pasta party.
A PP?
A PP.
Morning After with Nick and Big J. Coming up in a few minutes, we got ourselves some bad impressions. That's next on the X Rocks.
So far, I'm not impressed.
On the Morning After with Nick and Big J.
Yeah, and you know what? Let's continue on with the giving of the tickets to Kill Switch Engage happening March 17th at the Revolution Concert House and Event Center. Some tickets still on sale, by the way, for that. We'll get you set up here with these tickets for free if you can figure out bad impressions and me throwing out a couple clues as a celebrity.
All right, 208-287-1003 is the number that you need to call if you'd like to try to score these Kill Switch Engage tickets. Bad Impressions works like this. Big J will give you 3 clues. You have to try to figure out what celebrity he's trying to be in those 3 clues, or less, of course. And if you can figure it out, congratulations. It is you spending St. Patrick's Day with Kill Switch Engage, and hopefully that makes you pretty happy. To the phones we go. Hello, the X.
Howdy.
How you
Bad
doing,
impressions?
Yeah, what's your name?
Oh, man, I'm so good. My name's Zach.
All right, Zach, you're up first, dude. Good luck.
Am I a rapper, a singer-songwriter, a country artist? You decide. But I do have tattoos on my face.
Jelly Roll.
Close. You're close.
Oh, man.
I know that. I know what it is.
He knows it.
I know it. He was just seen here, Post Malone.
There you go. That's right.
Hey, that's all you need. Good job, man.
They just saw him here on Tuesday or on Saturday night, I think.
Yeah. You're stealing my thunder, man.
Good job, man.
Oh, man.
Hang on one second. Killswitch Engage tickets are yours. What were clues 2 and 3 for fun?
Circles, Rockstar, and Sunflower, a few of my huge hits. You might hear them at Albertson Stadium when I'm with Jelly Roll this summer. And I own a few Raising Cane restaurants, one in Utah that adorned with Dallas Cowboys colors because I'm a big fan. And, he made another trip here to the Treasure Valley. This is like the third time he's been here in the last few months, Nick, making it quite a regular thing. He was... first, he was spotted at a bar in Melba, and then he was at Indian Creek Steakhouse in Caldwell Saturday night as well. Apparently, he was here on some sort of hunting trip. But he's making a regular stop of hanging out here, and he lives not that far away in Utah.
Yeah, he had the cowboy hat on and everything. He was rocking and rolling.
I think that's just the way he rolls.
Yeah, well, listen, that's it's playing into his current trend, which is country music singer. So. Good for him, and good for everybody that stopped by and saw Posty, as he's known, to all the fans that swung by and stopped him. Big J, would you get a selfie if you saw Post Malone?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I'd be like, hey, dude, why don't you just cut loose and do a rock album this time around?
Well, he did make a song with Ozzy. Remember we played it for a little while?
Yeah, I know, but I mean,
he
loves covering like Alice in Chains and Nirvana, and he's pretty damn good at it, too.
Well, he did perform with Nirvana at the Saturday Night Live 50th anniversary, too, so there's that. You never know. You never know. But here's the thing. Country is a little bit more open to embracing that kind of stuff. Rock is very much not okay. Like, listen, you talk about, like, Jelly Roll has got some crossover appeal in country and in rock, and people automatically think that you're not a rock station if you play Jelly Roll. And so I don't know if rock fans would embrace a crossover. Can you think of a single band that crossed over like that into that world? It just doesn't work.
No, it doesn't. But I mean, I don't know if anybody's had the bones to actually make it work.
No, true. But I mean, maybe Miley Cyrus doing some rock stuff and that never took off either. You know what I mean? Like, rock fans are very...
Well, that was covering Metallica.
I know, but we're still gatekeepers. Like, you have to earn your way in. And if somebody had some sort of success in other formats or any other kind of world... There's no way we would allow that. I mean, we would, you and I, but we're a little bit more open-minded than most rock fans, I think. Most would be like, what is that country person doing making a rock album? Get the hell out of here. And that's how that would be perceived. But listen, man, I got no problems with Post Malone. Do you, Big J?
No, not at all.
But then again, I've got no reason to have any problems with Post Malone, but that's not the world we live in, Big J. If it's not your type of music, then it's a personal affront to you and everything that you love.
How dare they exist?
Morning After with Nick and Big J. There's your bad impressions. We wrap up the show here next on the Action. That is Disturbed, their latest I Will Not Break. Wrapping up the Morning After with Nick and Big J for this Monday. Thanks for hanging out with us. Big J got an A for the weekend, bro. Crazy. Not feeling great, played some video games, moved some papers, got yourself an A. That's how weekends are supposed to work, dude.
Yes,
with the exception of not
have
feeling
to
well.
Suffer physically in order to make it happen. But.
Yeah, that's usually life, quite frankly, at this age. But congratulations on the A, my friend. We also had a chance to talk to you about how you should bookmark February 9th as the beginning of the Robot Uprising. We've been warning you about for well over a decade at this point on this very show. And, of course, we also had a chance to give away some Killswitch Engage tickets. That shall continue tomorrow. If you are looking to get in on that St. Patrick's Day show at the Revolution Concert House and Event Center, that should be a good one. Big J, that leaves you with the floor, sir.
Yeah, last night, the Oscars, Harrison Ford was supposed to present an award, but couldn't make it due to the shingles, man.
Oh, the shingles,
God,
man.
Old people. Our favorite celebs are old. I mean, that's how old they are.
Now, I believe we had a full-on 15-minute discussion about shingles this morning between you and I off the air. You can joke and have fun, but don't be bringing that smoke my way. I don't want any shingles going on, man. No. I don't know. We were talking about like how it happens, and I don't think we ever came up to an answer.
Yeah,
right?
whenever I'm allowed to get that vaccine that says no, I don't want them, I'll take that immediately.
You want that shingles vaccine?
Yeah.
Understandable. Yeah. I mean, because we were talking, I mean, it happens a lot with old people, but like even young people can get shingles and nothing about it is fun. All I know is it's incredibly painful and it doesn't sound like it's a good time at all.
Yeah. I'll skip. I'll pass. So,
but I don't know if anybody wants to text me to tell me. Well, listen, you know what? I don't need to know how because then if I know how you get it, I'll never stop thinking about it. So leave me alone with your shingles knowledge. I don't want to know anything about it now that I'm thinking about it. Morning After with Nick and Big J. Next set of X-Rock brought to you by our friends over at Team Mazda. If you're looking for a good new or used car, check out GoTeamMazda.com. It is a great place to get started on the website. Their inventory is there. They've got the great iPrecheck button there as well. Find out what you're pre-qualified for. So check it out at GoTeamMazda.com. That is it for us. Jason Drew's coming in next. So see you all tomorrow. It's the X-Rocks.